Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Mike Huckabee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to Huckabee from the Fox News studios in New York City. All right, I need to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. And I'm going to ask you to listen with your mind and not your emotions. I want to speak to you as one who ran for office as a candidate numerous times, got elected to statewide office longer than any Republican in my state's history, and who now hosts a television show, a talk radio show, and a daily radio commentary. I'm probably one of the few talk show hosts who has actually served as a CEO of a state and also presided over a Senate as a lieutenant governor. As a candidate, I had to run and win in a state that had only elected 3 people of my party to statewide office in 150 years. And I won by the largest margin of anyone in my party ever had. I even received 49% of the African American vote in my state, and not many Republicans in any state can say that, black or white. Now, I'm not saying that to boast, but I'm saying it because I want to qualify what I want to say. Having run for office, served in office, and been a talk show host talking about those who serve in office, I can tell you that the easy of those is being a talk show host. You see, I get to take a stand, I get to fully control the debate, and I can change the subject whenever I want to. I've got no responsibility for the outcome of my ideas, should they be embraced and adopted. The solutions that I push for on radio or TV don't have to work. I can be absolutely absolute about how right I am because no one gets to hold me accountable. You see, holding office and governing is hard, very hard. As governor, I had 89 out of 100 in the House who were Democrats. And in the Senate, 31 out of the 35 of the Senate were Democrats. Now, with those numbers, I didn't have a legislature that was looking for ways to make me look good. And the legislation I proposed either had to be good, but I still had to sell it to people who did not have a natural interest in wanting to pass it. This week, most of the Republican callers to my radio show supported the shutdown and the showdown. One of them said it best. He said, "We sent those guys to Washington to take a stand." And that's when I realized, Houston, we've got a problem. Because no, we didn't send those guys to Washington to take a stand. We sent them to govern. You see, it's really easy to take a stand. Heck, you don't even have to go to the trouble of running for office or serving as an elected official. On radio and TV, I take a stand every day. You can take a stand by raising your voice on the Capitol steps, but to make a real change, you've got to get inside that building and have a vote. I can raise Cain as a talk show host, but to raise up test scores, create jobs, or build roads or reform prisons, I had to govern. Now, unless the numbers are all on your side, you are not going to get everything you want. By the way, I had a theological education, and in theology, things are pure. They're black and white. Politics isn't pure, and it's never perfect. By the way, when I cook barbecue ribs, I cook them on low heat, and I cook them slow to make them fall off the bone real tender. Because good cooking is not done over an explosion, but over a steady heat. You know, we've seen people in Washington taking a stand, but the question is, are they governing? Most people don't care about the process in the kitchen. They care about the finished product. Governing is about mastering the process so the product will nourish and not make us sick. I've come to the conclusion I think some of the politicians would be better as talk show hosts, and some of the talk show hosts ought to run for office and find out what it's really about. Well, House Republicans are not getting much traction in their latest battle in Washington. So did they pick the wrong fight? Let's ask Matt Welch, editor-in-chief of Reason magazine and author of the Declaration of Independence, How Libertarian Politics Can Fix What's Wrong with America. And Jamu Green, former campaign advisor to Hillary Clinton and a Fox News contributor. Well, both of you, it's great to have you here. Thank you very much. Jamu, I'll start with you. Do you think we have blurred the lines between governing and campaigning and talking?
Absolutely. Can I just start by saying bravo on your monologue, because not only do I want some of your barbecue, I need some of your common sense, and your Republican colleagues and Democrats in D.C. need some of your common sense in this whole situation. Everything you just said shows like how you could be the ace in the hole for your party. In a democracy, you get what you want by convincing the majority to agree with you. Republicans lost the argument, and we have gone into this campaign mode since 2010 that is hurting our fragile economy.
Matt, has it gotten out of hand to the place where they've lost sight that the goal is not to just see if they can issue the latest barb, and some of the language has been over the top, worst I've ever heard?
What's amazing is that Republicans had an incredibly winning hand as recently as 6 months ago. Remember, we had 3 big deadlines in March, just like we had 3 big ones in October. They were the debt ceiling, the continuing resolution, and the sequester. John Boehner separated them, right? He said the debt ceiling, let's kick it off here, but let's make Democrats pass a budget in the Senate. He got that. We could have had a $3.6 trillion budget passed in April in this country, which would be basically flat spending revenue, across all levels. And then October 1st would have been Obamacare rollout day instead of government shutdown day. And the debt ceiling negotiation, which had to come in October 17th, would be something that Republicans had the upper hand, because Americans don't want the debt ceiling raised without conditions, or at least they didn't until this big government shutdown mess. Now I think Republicans have mangled and combined all these issues and have really hurt their own previously strong negotiating skills.
I think you're exactly right. The Democrats would have been defending Obamacare all this week through the numerous glitches, and instead the Republicans helped change the subject and threw the Democrats a lifeline. Jammu, in spite of that, the Democrats, rather than say, okay, you know what, we're going to go ahead and get this shutdown over with pretty quickly. We've made our point. Let's move on. They seem to be dug in. And everything that gets sent to, let's open up the monuments, the museums, let's give the veterans their money, let's help the children who need to go to the NIH, National Institutes for Health, for cancer treatment. And they say, no, we get it all or we get nothing. I've never in my life thought that governing was an all or nothing proposition.
It absolutely isn't an all or nothing proposition. And Democrats have caved in a number of ways. If you look at the numbers that are tied to this continuing resolution that could pass today, if Boehner brought it up, they already include massive spending cuts, that across the board spending cuts through sequestration. Democrats don't want this number, but they've said we need to fund the government. We need to move on from this. And Boehner is not taking them up on the opportunity to bring this to a vote where he has the votes to stop these 30 or so Republicans from basically setting an untenable precedent when it comes to our democracy. You know this is not how legislation can continue to happen for us to be the strong powerhouse that we are.
But the House has passed bills. They sent it to the Senate. Harry Reid sits on it like a hen sits on eggs, except nothing ever hatches over there. Matt, I'm trying to figure out Harry Reid's language. Some of it has been over the top today. He said government workers on furlough ought to go home, watch TV, play chess. That's not the mark of, hey, let us reason together.
The president actually set the tone on this when he has said repeatedly that he wouldn't negotiate on the debt ceiling, as if that's his call to make. It isn't. There is a divided government in this country by design. The House of Representatives does get some say in this. You do actually have to negotiate. I think Democrats are looking at the polls, which say that Americans, rightly in my view, hate the government shutdown and will blame Republicans a little bit more than they blame Democrats. And they're looking at that and saying, great, we don't have to negotiate anything ever again. We're just going to let Republicans die on the vine here. I think that's overplaying what is now their strong hand here. I think Obama specifically is going to have to give Republicans a lifeline out of the box canyon that they built for themselves.
Jammu, final thought here. Bill Clinton understood the art of the negotiation. He worked with people. He didn't always enjoy it. Heck, I didn't either. But that's what you do. I don't see that with Barack Obama. And I know you're probably going to defend that he's doing, what he's supposed to do. But Matt's point, I think, is well taken. The president is only 1/3 of the government. He's not all of it. How does he get to say it's this way, no negotiation, period?
Well, I think, Governor, this goes back to the untenable precedent that I set. We cannot have a small number of Republicans, the minority, dictating that they are going to destroy our economy if they don't get what they want. That's a precedent that we can't set for President Obama. The next president, who may be Hillary Clinton, President Clinton's, significant other. And I think, if we have our wish, but I think President Obama has been very open with the Republicans and has upset many people on the left and compromised with them time after time after time. This is just the final straw that these kids in the Capitol really need to learn their lesson.
That part about him,
understand how it works.
Yeah, that part about him working with him, I missed that chapter. I'll have to go back and watch the reruns on that. Jamu, Matt, always great to see you. Thank you very much. All right, in less than 2 weeks, the government is not going to have enough money to pay all of its bills. So will Congress get a new credit card, or will it cut its spending? We'll talk about it next.
I'd like to hear from you. Go to my website, MikeHuckabee.com. Tell me what you think on the Leave Feedback section. Or sign up for my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter. You can find a link to that and more at MikeHuckabee.com.